This episode of Crashed While Loading isn't sponsored by Call of Duty Vanguard. Vanguard! Play Call of Duty like never before, set in World War II, with guns that existed, sort of, but not really, with holographic sights authentic to the 1940s, just like your great-great-grandpa told you about. Never before seen maps that have only been seen and redone 3-4 times, never before played since the last time you played them. And a compelling 4 to 5 hour single-player campaign that has you mostly waiting to get back to the kick-ass Russian sniper chick Polina Petrova, as you're basically playing a first-person Assassin's Creed with sniper rifles. Also, see Barry from Lord of the Rings play a weaselly Nazi, and it'll drive you crazy not knowing who he is at first until you eventually notice. Call of Duty Vanguard! By the way, Modern Warfare 2 is next year, so you're only stuck with it for one. Vanguard!
This is Crashed While Loading, the fusion of entertainment and information.
Hello there.
Weekly updates and opinions on video games,
You were almost a jibble sandwich.
You're right.
movies,
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
TV shows,
This is the way.
This is the way.
and so much more.
JJ, what do you want to do tonight?
Off. We need to go on a quick adventure. Hello, people of the interwebs. Welcome to the 51st episode of Crashed While Loading. I, of course, am your host, Asher Phoenix, picking at a sore spot on his elbow that feels like it's got a splinter in it, but for some reason there's nothing there. Oh, it's been another 3 weeks since the last episode, which was 3 weeks before that as well, because fucking life. Dude is kicking you in the balls over and over, just on a constant treadmill of, like, ball kicking. Every step you take, it pulls that little foot back a little bit further, and then you hit that fifth step, and bam, right in the balls. So, yeah, we, after, I think I mentioned it last time that our son had a car accident. He was fine. But that meant that we were car shopping when we did the last episode. That's fun. You know what's really great to do in the middle of a supply shortage? Go car shopping for something that cost you $4,000 more than it should have. Probably. I don't know. Oh, it was such a fucking nightmare. And I also, I'm not like, I'm a little bit of a wiener, but I'm not like a Weasley little like soy boy kind of girly girl man. I give a nice firm handshake and things like that. I don't shy away from it, but I also don't feel the need to be like, like the test your strength meter at the fair, where you just squeeze as hard as you can, or like prove how manly I am by eating, I don't know, hot sauce. Is the thing stupid Chads do? I don't know. But so we're at the car dealership, and the guy shakes my hand, and I'm like, it's like, square as hard as he possibly can. And it's like, what, dude, just like, you just calm down. I understand you have a micro penis, but you don't need proof that you're still a man by squeezing the shit out of my hand. It's like he's Russian or something, and everything's based off of strength. He's like, I squeeze your hand. Ugh! Your hand hurt now. You buy my car. Let's squeeze your hand again. So squeeze, so strong. If I squeeze your hand, we buy car. Whoever squeeze hand harder, that person now buy car. It's not how it works, dude. Just show us the fucking car. Introduce yourself. I'm going to say his name is Brian, because honestly, I also can't remember people's names after about 4 seconds after they've told me. Hi, I'm Matt. Sorry, who? It's already gone. I don't know why. I know I'm not the only one, but yeah, it's just this dealership. They all of them. And it wasn't just like one. It was like of the 400 I think we went to. They were all like, yeah, squeeze hand. I'm so strong. Now you buy my car. We'll see you. Buy car now. Yes. Squeeze hand, buy car. That's how it work in the car dealership used businesses. It's just fucking stupid. I know you've missed this. I know I have. It's a combination of life kicking you in the balls and also being really tired a lot. This is the shit time of year for us at the Postal Service. Thankfully, there's a supply shortage, so I don't think it's going to be that bad this year because get your grocery shopping done now, kids. You're not getting anything but pine cones for the kiddies if you wait until December to do your shopping. I'm just going to say that. Not because I'm, a conspiracy theorist, but because we have about 29,000 cargo containers coming in a day, and the port out in LA or in California can only do about 18,000 a day, which is still incredible. Also, there's a backlog of over 400,000 sitting on the water. Oh, and also, all those containers that are just sitting over here, eventually, those are supposed to go back to China and where the other ports where that stuff comes from. And so when those are still sitting on the water here, they're going to run out of cargo containers over there, and that's going to create another backlog because that shit's going to sit on the shores of China. This is going to take years because people around the world are fucking stupid in doing these stupid climate summits instead of, making sure people have food and water and heat and energy. Yeah, let's do that instead of... By the way, that climate summit was fantastic. They all had about 100 electric cars costing about $100,000 each, but there was only one charging station all these leaders of state were doing, so they brought in a diesel generator to do those electric cars for them. No one sees the irony in that, right? I'm all for clean energies and stuff like that, but the stupidity of some of the people that, like, for me personally, yeah, nuclear power, cleanest form of energy we have, but for some reason they maligned it in the 80s because of Chernobyl and the Russians, the stupid Russians. He did not shake hand hard enough. That is why Chernobyl went bad. It kablooed. It had piddly little Ukrainians shaking hands with their soft little fingers, and boom, that is how it went. I have no idea. But anyway, so enough of my ranting. You're here for video games and movies. Well, luckily, in 3 weeks, I've watched a shit ton and played even more of both. Sit back, this is going to take a second. So, I watched Lego Star Wars Terrifying Tales. I fell asleep. It was just boring as shit. The sad thing was, the one parts that I did stay awake through, Christian Slater actually played Ren, of the Knights of Ren, that corrupted Kylo, and the made-up bullshit Lego story version of how Ren came in with the Knights of Ren and corrupted Kylo, and which Kylo meant, like, they called him Kylo because it meant, like, weakling or something, and he just adopted it after he killed Christian Slater, who was Ren. I mentioned that. And that was a better telling of why Kylo Ren existed than anything we got in the actual movies, which was sad. And also, I really enjoyed the Lego Star Wars stuff. This one was not good. Like I said, I wasn't really even tired. I fell asleep. Also, the little hut that was redoing Darth Vader's palace on Mustafar was Master Shake from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You can't not unhear that. Once you hear him talk, you're less like, oh, that's... You just need to get Meatwad in there and tell you, like, this guy over here, he is whack as fuck, I don't even know what's going on half the time, but, he's over here. He's doing his thing. He's just trying to renovate Darth Vader's place. But, like, there was ghosts and stuff in it. I was scared of ghosts, so, how that goes. Yeah, this is what you were waiting for. That was, let's see, gingerbread-flavored rum. That's actually pretty good. Okay, so moving on from, I would highly not recommend. I usually love, I usually love everything Lego Star Wars. Not everything Star Wars. Looking at you, Ryan Johnson. So moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy. Fuck, that is exactly what we were expecting from Avengers. It's fun. It is a fun game. The graphic, I'm playing on a Series X. The facial features on a lot of the characters. For some reason, not Peter Quill, who is the main guy. His hair is terrible, though. I will say that it's just god awful. I don't know why they chose that style. But like Gamora and Drax, Rocket's a little video gamey just because it's faux fur. Some of the little girl, Nikki, that comes into it, and her mom, caloric intake. They look absolutely amazing, especially in close-ups. It's super creepy how realistic, like, it looks like full-blown, like, CGI trailer stuff. Like, it looks so good. But besides that, the game is just fun as shit. You only play as Peter, and I know early on people were bitching like, oh, I want to play as the most boring person. Well, it's because you use the others as like side special skills, like, you know, Drax and Gamora. Groot has like a tree netting. I don't know. It's like he holds on to them with his roots, you know. But it is a lot of fun. The mechanic, it's very linear. It goes chapter by chapter. There's usually some big bad guy. I mean, they're not all like super duper important or anything, but it is a lot of fun. And the way it's written and the banter between them and the choices you make, it seems like it's on the level of, it really is like a Mass Effect, minus the, like, some of your decisions are good and bad, but they're not like good or evil. There was one early spoiler-ish warnings where I think they showed it in the trailer. But you had to pick to give Lady Hellbender something rare, which was either going to be Groot or Rocket. And Drax wanted to give Rocket because he's an evil little beastie, and Gamora wanted Groot because he looks the part of a horrible monster. I picked Groot. Groot lasted about an hour before just spilling the entire story. I assume Rocket would have had a totally different outcome. In the end, you still end up getting away, escaping, fighting the bad guy, blah, blah, blah. I mean, they still have convergent points, but I'm curious to try, if I have time, which I highly doubt it because there are so many games coming out right now. That's one I didn't even put on here. Tales of Horizon. We'll get back to that in a second. But they all kind of come back to a point, and I think some of the stuff seems like it lingers on, so it's been really cool. The dialogue and the banter between all the characters is just awesome, dude. I mean, it's just so well done, and there are so much of it. Like, you could just listen to them yakking at each other in the background, and it's crazy. You go to the workbenches, and like if Rocket's pissed off at you, he'll help you because he's the one that upgrades your stuff. But he'll give you the silent treatment, or he'll give you lip about it. You know, it's just so well done. I can't wait to finish it. I haven't stopped playing it, even though I also started playing Call of Duty and Visage. That one I played with Sibs. But it's just so good. I'm really, really enjoying it. And when it's done, it's done. I may play it through it again. It is a fun experience to do the other choices that I didn't do the first time. But it's just a cool game, man. The other one, like I said, Visage, which is a game apparently that's come out before, but it was on Game Pass, and it was been updated recently for the Series X. And, well, I did get Alan Wake. I paid for that. I'm not even playing that one. We're playing Visage. It is technically not a great game. Like, the controls of it are frustrating the shit out of me. It's not intuitive, the controls. You got one hand to do two different things, hold an item like a candle or a lighter. The menu button should be the closest start button, but instead they do the one farthest closest to the joystick on the left-hand side, which is super awkward. But it's scary, dude. It's legitimately, it gets you, like, freaks you out. Like, it seems like it's going to be a short game until you realize there's like 4 chapters. The first one took several hours. It's definitely not one to don't feel shy about using a guide with, because there are some of the context clues are super vague. Like, if you really want to unwind the puzzles in this. It's very Silent Hill PT, the playtest thing. It's inspired by that. So you're basically in one house, and it shifts and morphs. And there's a creepy the first one, which is Dolores. She's just this creepy old lady, and she just shows up randomly. Or one that got us multiple times, and we see it in our Nukes top 5 all the time. But like, we come around a corner and down the hall around the corner, it's just this hand and a face peeking out at you. And that in itself is creepy. Like, if it just jerked back, that's always creepy when you see those in videos. But this one just dead ass stares at you. It's like daring you to come towards it. I never got the balls to actually do that, even though restarting is, you could die multiple times. It's super easy to do. Especially, when they chase you, but you've got to run away. But if you're down a hallway, when the end of the hallway is a dead end, you're going to get shanked. But it's super creepy. Visually, it's really cool. The puzzles, some of the puzzles I think are kind of bullshit. Very few of them, but you've got to really pay attention if you want to do it without a thing. We've had a few times where we just got stuck in wandering around the house slowly at a snail's pace. Oh, dude, it's painful. Especially when we didn't realize the entire first chapter, the left trigger button is a run. Even though I pushed it, it increases your speed, but not enough that I noticed it was just a click. So I did not realize for like the last 3 hours that I could have moved faster, and I've been bitching about that the whole time, much to Sib's chagrin. But we've enjoyed it. It's one of those couch co-ops. It's not a co-op game, but we play it co-op on the couch. Like, she throws out ideas. She says, what about this over here? We're playing it together, even though I'm the one that's controlling it. We do a lot of games like that, funny enough. We did that with Resident Evil 7 and 8. Even though she wanted to play through it, she never got around to it, so she just sat and watched me play it, which was perfectly fine. It's a lot of fun. Also, I finished Tales of Arise. I think I have to check, but it was nearly 60 hours into that game. And it was really good. I had a great time with it. It jumps off the fucking anime bandwagon. At first you're just killing the 5 lords. You don't know why. And the character development, there's lots and lots of great twists and turns. And eventually you're saving the whole world, because that's how all these Tales games and things work like that. However, I will say, the last bit, when you get to Rena, the last 5 hours or so, holy shit, did they drop the exposition bomb. Yeah, that...
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Exposition bomb. But it's just, they reiterate the points that they've been making this entire time over and over and over. And to the point where, like, the side ones were fun. Like, every now and then these little dialogues will come up and you click it and it does a cute little scene. And I've watched most of them. After a while, I'd click it and I'd see what they're talking about, and I'd just skip it. It was just too damn much. I was spending hours just sitting there listening to these little 3-5 minute videos of them talking and bantering back and forth. It was too much. And then there were a lot of them that you could skip, but you might miss something. Because it was fully animated. Oh, that was painful. Overall, I did love the game, and I would give it a solid 8 probably. And just in the amount of fun I had and this and that. One thing that's so funny, because this is carried over through the Tales games all the way back to when CDs were a thing. They animate stuff, computer drawn anime, cell shaded anime bullshit. Back in the day when the graphics were sprite based or crappily drawn in 3D, that was really cool. Now, it's jarring, actually, how bad it looks compared to the in-game cinematics. Some of the cinematics where Volron and the Iron Mask Kid fight, in the 3D space, are just amazingly well done. They're so fluid. The movement and combat is just dead on. And then they did some of it in the anime 2D style, which I love 2D animation. I do. But when you've already got amazing 3D work and you've shown me how cool it can look, and then you switch over to 2D for seemingly no reason other than it was so weird. It was just so jarring. It was just such a funny, as an older gamer, it was so cool when you got to those 2D anime scenes back in the day. Like, I don't remember which Tales games I've played in the past or which other games like that I've played that switched over to anime. I think Dot Hack GU did that a lot. And that made more sense because even though I think Dot Hack GU looked great, the animation was just better back then. It was like PlayStation 2 or 3 era. I think it was PlayStation 2. So it's just so funny how far things have come that back in, a long time ago, that was, you like, oh man, it's 2D animated. Oh, look, it's just like an anime on my video game. And now you're like, oh, can we go back to the live version of the video game? Because that just sort of looks better. It just looks gooder to me. So, but yeah, Tales of Arise, you've got to love those types of games to get through it. I don't like all of them. Like I didn't, Tales of Vesperia, I think it was, and I didn't make it through. Also, that one had a lot of reading, and I get tired of reading after a while. I know. Ooh, poor guy doesn't like to read. Shut up. But, yeah, so moving on. We saw Dune, the movie. And now that we know we're getting a sequel, I will allow myself to like it more. I did like it. I loved it a lot. Actually, we want to go see it in a movie theater. We saw it at home, even though they're always pushing, like, do you want to see this breathtaking movie on a tiny little TV when you could watch it at the screen? When we go to the movie theaters, it's like, yeah, well, I mean, at my house, I'm 10, 12 feet away from an 86-inch screen. Like, scope-wise, I think the TV in my living room is actually visually bigger than the screen when I go to the movie theater, depending on the size of the theater. If it's one of the smaller, medium ones, I actually have more viewing space at home. So, your argument is invalid, James Bond. That was the trailer we saw it on all the time. But no, Dune, I mean, if you've paid any attention at all, visually stunning, obviously. We've read the books, so we were able to fill in gaps that I don't know if people that haven't read the books, like, they don't go into a lot. They don't go really into the Bene Gesserit. They don't go into the Mentats. They don't go into the doctors like Dr. Yui. You don't know why it's such a big thing when he does what he does. I guess I don't know. Could I spoil a book that's been out for 40 years or whatever? I don't know. I honestly don't know at this point. And already one other really crappy movie. Which, can I get into that for a moment? I'm going to get into that more. If you think the movie from the 80s with Sting in it is good, you're an idiot. It's terrible. Like, the director wanted his name taken off of it because it was done so badly. Not because he did it badly, but because the studio got involved and fucked it up. Sounds familiar. A lot of it hasn't changed in the last 30 years of Hollywood. It's a bad movie. It makes no sense. You've got no idea. You've got narration, which is it can be used to some good effect. Like, was it Free Guy has some narration from Ryan Reynolds in it. And it works because it's a comedy. It's supposed to be like that. That Dune 1980, I think 84 or whatever it was, no, it's just bad. It is a terrible movie. Baron Harkonnen is this goofy little fat guy that floats and bounces around. I keep waiting for him to stop a musical number. Even though in the book he is a pedophile and a child rapist and murderer, by the way, and the Beast Raban is played by Dave Bautista in the newest one, is just this big dumb idiot. He's very underutilized in this one, but Bautista does a good job of playing the Beast. It's just, I've seen people compare it like, well, it's not as good as, no, you're right, it's not as good. It's infinitely better. You are correct. It is just not as good because the first one is just a garbage trash fire of a movie. Now, are you allowed to like it? Yes. My opinion, as factual as it may be, does not negate your enjoyment you may receive. Do yourself a favor and go watch that piece of shit today and then come back and tell me how great it is. Yeah. I recently watched what's the furry fuck? The ferret fucker. Not Beast. Yeah, Beastmaster. Beastmaster. I watched Beastmaster for the first time recently too. That movie was fun because it was goofy and stupid. It's terrible. Caw-caw! You know, it was it was just so bad. We enjoyed it. I had fun mocking it. We watched it with some friends because we're just do this old movie night. Next one's going to be Howard the Duck, by the way, which is a great movie that is absolutely garbage. It's a shit movie, and I love it because I have fond memories of it as a kid, which is why you might like Dune. Still doesn't make it not a shit movie. But yeah, like Beastmaster, the dude, like, we got to save the chick who's super hot and later plays another scantily clad girl, but she's there with 4 other women just like her. So they kill all the guys. They're escaping, and they don't kill all the guys. They're escaping with her, and Sib's like, where's the other 4 women that were with her? Like, they just fucking left them. They rescued her, and they just, like, fuck off, other 4 priestess women. We're not here for you. We're here for Tits McGee. And Tits McGee, they often went. Also, there is a funny little thing. The Beastmaster and the chick are actually cousins. So their little romance thing, they're related by fathers who are brothers. Each one, their dads are uncles, so or brothers. So they're uncles, and it makes them cousins. And he's still trying to get into her pants at the end of it. Little awkward. They definitely Skywalkered that one there, Luke and Leia. So anyway, Dune was great. I mean, it's you're already interested and you've already seen it if you want to. That's that. Free Guy, we finally got to see that. It was a lot of fun. I love Ryan Reynolds. Even if he is Ryan Reynolds, being Ryan Reynolds, the video game throwbacks and stuff like that, especially for us gamers, I can see why it did as good as it did among our people, because they really, really leaned heavily into that stuff, the video game aspect and AI learning, and the backstory was really cute, and the all the characters involved were. Just Antico Waititi playing the arrogant video game guy maker was just I love that guy. Everything I see him do, I can't wait for Thor: Love and Thunder. He's just gonna be so good because he's just such a fucking weird. He's like Tim Burton, but without the really dark weird. He's just fun. Knows how to make a good movie. And play a good character. Those fun-loving, adorable characters like Adolf Hitler in Jojo Rabbit. Yeah, those fun-loving. So anyway, Call of Duty Vanguard is a lot of fun too. Playing through the single-player campaign. I know I trashed it in the intro, but I mean it's Call of Duty. It's fucking easy to trash. Some of the main story campaigns are way better. Like I said, Petrova, I think that was her last name, Polina Petrova, who is loosely based off an actual Russian chick who was a sniper. Apparently she had over 300 kills under her belt during World War II. Yeah, not a chick you want to mess with. Her parts are a lot of fun, very dynamic, very fluid. She runs around very Assassin's Creed and snipey if you blow it. Kingsley he's the black guy and he's the leader guy, and they play into the Nazi view of blacks at the time very well and uncomfortably, which is I'm glad they don't, excuse the phrase, whitewash it. And just play off like, oh no, yeah, the Nazis, they just sort of didn't like the black peoples. I don't know why he went Russian. The Nazis, they sort of don't like the black people. There they go. I finally got the Russian accent, or the Nazi accent, the German. No, but I mean, they don't go and they use is Negro, which is probably all they could get away with without getting in trouble. The really weird part, it really is the guy that played Merry from Lord of the Rings plays the Weasley little Nazi guy that thinks he's really smart interrogating people, and it was driving me nuts because the cutscenes in this are very well done. Like, the game cutscenes are pretty good. For some reason, Call of Duty cannot get hair right to save its life in game, but in the cinematic cutscenes where they up-resed everything and, you know, it actually plays off as a video, those are damn near perfect. They really, like, some of that could pass for, like, movie-grade CGI in the background that's, like, supposed to look realistic and like Star Wars or a Marvel movie or DC or whatever, name your movie. Those are really good. It's been a lot of fun. The multiplayer, I mean, I enjoy it obviously because I am a god among mortals when I come to that most of the time, right up until I pick up a sniper rifle, because to unlock Polina, I have to get 200 kills with a sniper rifle. So 7 kills into the full match with a sniper rifle. It was the best I've done is 11 in one match, and that was just because it was a long-distance match. I suck with a fucking sniper rifle. I am just worse. You give me an assault rifle or the MP40, which is a SMG that's a little bit overpowered, but I'm still using it because that's what I would do. I rock the world. I rock their world. It's top 3 usually. I almost always get like it. I may not get the MVP vote, but I definitely get featured. And I will say the one thing that does take is that takes too damn long. They need to shorten that MVP thing up at the end. It's where everyone votes on the top 3 players on your team, and they all have an animation, and it just takes too damn long to get to the point. Between that and the kill cam, which definitely loses something when you don't do slow-mo on the last kill. It's just like pop, 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 boop, it's done. And it's like, wow, that is really anticlimactic. So, I think that's it for shit I'm going to talk about that I reviewed. Let's go on to the news. This seemed like a lot more important at the time, but now it's just because I like Ryan Reynolds. Again, I'm going to talk about him. Apparently, he's going to take a break from making movies for a bit. He wrapped up making a movie called Spirited, which, it's for Apple TV, so who gives a fuck? I'm not going to be able to see it. Kind of like Foundation. Yeah, I'm not going to really watch that. Doesn't say how long he's going to take a break, but, hey, probably right up until they throw a few $1 million to get Deadpool 3 off the ground. I mean, come on, let's be honest. He's going to come back for Deadpool 3 if Disney can get the balls to make a rated R movie. Speaking of which, speaking of Disney's balls, I haven't seen it yet. We want to, Eternals. But them not actually taking out the gay character for the Middle Eastern market, kind of a shock, I'll be honest, because they usually do everything they can to placate and get as much money as possible. But they actually, that's one of my I have no problem with the LGBT blah, blah, blah alphabet crap. Do what makes you happy, whatever. I don't care what orifice you put your dick in or don't, or rub against something else. I just don't care. You just don't be a douchebag about it. Just like guys that are like, yeah, I banged 12 chicks last night. Fuck off. Nobody gives a shit. Shut up. There's more to life. But they didn't give in to, I think it's the black guy. It might have, like a gay relationship or something like that. I don't know. I haven't seen it. That's just what I've been reading articles on. But they kept it in the movie, and so Saudi Arabia and a lot of the Middle East banned the movie, and that's got to be all the money. I don't know about China. I know China's really big on that stuff too. They recently banned from their television any like femboys, like any guy that's effeminate, not manly looking. So, I don't know where the line is, because a lot of like teenage boys just look effeminate. I don't know why. They just look like a bunch of girly girls and girly boys. Is there anything wrong with that? No. Just can't help how you look. Maybe it's the ones like that do the David Bowie makeup. I don't know. I don't live in fucking China. so it doesn't really matter to me. But yeah, so good on Disney. I'll give credit where credit's due. They stuck to their guns and, kept the vision as they intended it. I look forward to hopefully seeing sometime this week the actual movie. I just don't know. Other news, Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker got delayed by 2 weeks to December 7th. That one kind of came out of nowhere. And it's always so funny when they do a delay like that, because Yoshi P, the director, always comes out and just takes personal accountability for it. He's saying that this is the biggest expansion they've done so far, which is saying something, because I think the biggest expansion they actually did was Heavensward. And not Endwalker, Shadowbringers gets all the praise because it was just fantastic storytelling, but the amount of quests and stuff to do in it it was not their biggest expansion. It was just their best expansion, to be frank. And I like Endwalker. Don't get me wrong, or not Endwalker. Skyward Sword, but it's definitely Shadowbringers, Skyward Sword, and Stormblood in that order of best to worst. And honestly, even A Realm Reborn is probably before. It'd be third before Stormblood and after Skyward Sword. It drags on a little bit. So yeah, it's that. The community's taking it pretty well, actually. You'd think that they'd probably kick and scream, but no, they're pretty cool with it. In other news for you Smallville fans, Smallville is coming back, sort of, in an animated form. But they are getting Tom Welling and Michael Rosenbaum to come back as Superman and Lex Luthor, and it's 20 years later, just like it's kind of been since then. I given the last couple seasons were really bad of Smallville, but Smallville was good. I mean, there's another article IGN put up, and Tom Welling said that, why is it called the Arrowverse? Because all that stuff in the Arrowverse would not have happened had Smallville not gone on for 10 seasons. And he's not wrong. It should be called the Smallville verse or Smallverse or something like that. But Arrow kind of brought it all together, and so they get the credit for that. But Smallville was great, especially for its time. Nothing like that had really been done to that extent. The first season or two are definitely freak of the week, but they went into some really good stories, and just a really cool take on Superman and Lex's relationship. They did, obviously in the comics, they don't grow up together in the same town. But Lex's daddy issues with Lionel Luthor and stuff like that they did, and just creating Lex the way he was and shaping him into the supervillain he'd one day be. It was cool. I mean, I loved it. So I'm looking forward, even animated, to see more of that. And also in other news, coming soon in about a month, Among Us is launching on Xbox Game Pass on December 14th. Now, I don't care, but I know a lot of people love Among Us, and it is a fun game, I will say. I know my nephews I think they're still all gaga shit-faced over it, because it's a mobile game too, so it's super easy, but since they don't listen to this, obviously no one in my family actually listens to anything I do, because they are, they're not fun people, and they don't support me in anything. Nothing is supported by me. They're going to get probably a Series X or a Series S. Their dad was calling me the other day, and it's so funny because he calls me to ask me the difference between the Series X and S, which I know. One has a disk drive, one does 4K, one does 1440. See, I know all this stuff. One has 512 gigabyte, the other one's 1 terabyte. The CD disc player versus not having one. He asked me a question, and I was like, "Duh, spoons. Duh. I like video games. The fun." I couldn't remember shit. The only thing I could remember is he said he saw a Series S for $450, and I'm like, no, that's supposed to be $299, dude. Yeah, don't pay more than $300 for a Series S. They're not worth more than $300 for one. And apparently they were actually available at the Target when he was looking at online, which is great and I actually saw them in the wild-ish. It was the cards that you take to the front over at Costco. So good news if you're at least wanting a Series S. They seem like they're kind of becoming available at retail places at this point. The Series X and then it's PS4, not so much. To the surprise of probably nobody, moving on, Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk current-gen upgrades got delayed, as did all DLC and everything until 2022. The only part of it's this sort of surprising is that Witcher 3 was also pushed back along with Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk I get, because I mean there's just so many problems with that game still. It's really bad. I mean it's still a fun game, but even to this day they've only had a couple 2 or 3 big patches, and it still has a lot of buggy issues. There's just that game needed at least a full year in the oven to really get fixed. At least, and their reputation is so hurt. They just can't. They can't afford to release anything that is above, like, beyond gold. I mean, platinum edition kind of stuff. Like, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. The game's already been out, and then they've gone in and done it again. Kind of anything like that. They just can't afford that kind of hit to their reputation at this point. So it's not surprising. There's no date. There's nothing on that. So just next year sometime. And this actually, now that I'm reading this, I actually need to go and watch this because this should be out by now. There was a Stargate cast reunion. To read a Stargate script created by Google AI. So you know how this works. They feed all the episodes in to the Google thing, and it watches them. I don't know how it works. I'm not a fucking scientist. And then it creates a script based on it. And actually, this came out on November 6th, so 2 days ago. I need to go watch this somewhere. But it has Michael Shanks, who played Daniel Jackson, Amanda Tapping, who played Captain Carter, David Hewlett, who played the Weasley little fucking scientist, I forget, Rodney McKay, and Jennifer Keller, who you would know as Kylie from Serenity in not Stargate, and Firefly. She was in, I forget, was she in Stargate Universe or Atlantis? I can't remember which one she was in. But they've got those four people, and they made a dialogue thing based off of that. And they go through and read the script. The little trailer they did looked really fun. It's funny because they say, and it's done by the guy that helped create Stargate. So they say some of the lines were surprisingly good, other lines were hilariously bad, but all the performances are heartwarming as expected. So I'm going to have to watch that. But, if you like Stargate like I am, I'm watching through it right now. I'm on season 8, and I have to hurry at least to get through season 8 because it leaves Netflix on the 30th of this month. So there is no way I'm going to get through seasons 9 and 10. But honestly, after season 8, the show should have ended anyway, because that's when they bring in the cast of Farscape, who I love, by the way. Farscape's a great show, but they're not the original cast. It's just not as good. So, this is something, I was actually talking to Scribbles about this recently with NFTs and video games and stuff like that. I'm not going to fool myself and say that NFTs and stuff like that don't have a place in video games and that they won't be coming to it. Like the place that he showed me, which was, let's see here. We had a good conversation on it, but the Illuvium was the ones he did it where they were doing that stuff. And it's this play to pay or play to, I forget how they fucking word it now. I actually, yeah, like play to pay. Like you play it and supposedly you'll make money for it, but it's literally like cents, like a few cents. Like you'd have to play hundreds of hours to get even a couple bucks, like maybe $5. And a lot of these places it's all scams right now. That's the problem I have with it, is all of these things are scams. You're doing a lot of work, and I think there's a lot of things going on the outside. Now, blockchain, separate from the stupid NFT thing, which is the non-fungible token, which is just the dumbest ass. Fungible is a stupid fucking word. But this comes from the Dead by Daylight models are being sold as NFTs, and no one is pleased. So, like, Dead by Daylight's the horror game, and you can buy Pinhead, and you'll own Pinhead. Oh my god! Like, I'll buy it, and I'll actually own that digital version of Pinhead. No, you fucking won't. You know why? Because one day when this game shuts down, like the Friday the 13th game did, because of who knows what, that's it. It doesn't matter what you fucking own. It doesn't matter that you have an NFT and this non-fungible token of Pinhead that you own. You've got nowhere to play that, and it doesn't exist anymore. So it doesn't matter. It makes absolutely no fucking difference whatsoever. I mean, you own it as much as I own my characters in Elder Scrolls or EverQuest 2 or Final Fantasy. Do I have those as an NFT? No. I own them in a way, but if one of them was an NFT, one day, way in the future, because the game's fucking taken off, when they shut the servers down, it doesn't matter what I own. It doesn't matter how much work I've done. Star Wars Galaxies, doesn't matter what I did in that game. They shut the servers down, and the shit's gone. If I owned that as if non-fungible tokens and blockchain worked back then, doesn't matter. They stopped existing as soon as they just deleted the servers. It might nebulously exist in the blockchain code somewhere. Doesn't make any difference. There's nothing to connect it to. So it's just a stupid fucking ploy to make things seem like you're doing something that you're not actually doing. In the future, I think blockchain is a great way to encode stuff and help keep people from getting shit stolen and things like that. It works. Blockchain's great for that kind of stuff. It's great for security purposes and whatever. However, as these NFTs go, it's complete bullshit. And half the time, this play to pay. The things, it's not confusing at all. It's just dumb. It's like you're not going to get enough money. I've watched a couple videos on this, like in the places, and some of them, like people are repeating it. They're like putting all this effort in for like $5 in a week. My time is not worth spending 100 hours in a game to get $5. Excuse me. If I'm going to spend 100 hours in a game, it's because I'm enjoying the game, like Final Fantasy or Elder Scrolls or EverQuest 2 back in the day, which had like 365 days plus of actually logged in the game. Given that some of it was AFK, but most of that was being played. I'll spend that kind of time, 60 hours in a single player game that I got enjoyment out of, whatever. But these NFT things, at least for now, they are complete bullshit. They make no difference whatsoever. This one here, moving on to FIFA. I think I covered this in that one episode, or in episode 50, but I'm going to cover it again just in case I did miss it, but just because I like their response, the cat call, the between FIFA and EA is just fantastic, because if you don't know the story, FIFA wanted $1 billion over the course of 4 years for licensing. So $250 million a year. Given it's like a $6 billion a year franchise or something like that. I had looked it up. Let's see. Let's FIFA make a year. Let's see. How much does EA make more? There we go. That's a better question. How much does EA make from? It says they make. Oh, see, EA confirmed it makes about 1.6 billion from sales from April 20th to March 2021. So about in a year they make 1.6. So $1 billion kind of cuts into, they're making $6 billion-ish a year, or over the course of 4 years from FIFA. Billion's a lot of dollars, especially when they could just make it on their own. But now, I love that. Let's see. FIFA is bullish and optimistic about its long-term future in gaming and esports, following comprehensive and strategic assessment of the gaming and interactive entertainment market. Reads a FIFA statement before getting in a quick dig at former partner EA. It is clear that there needs to be a space that occupied by more than one party controlling all rights. Yeah, so this hasn't worked out well for FIFA at all, because EA has been making you also money year after year just on their video games, and you've been making them money. It's been a pretty good partnership for both of them. FIFA, I think, just got greedy, and I think they're going to branch out, and they're going to find that making a soccer game may not be as easy as they thought it would be by other people. Sure, you've got the brand, but I mean, can I point to you at all the shitty Star Wars games we've got that have that brand tacked onto it? Masters of Terrascasi, looking at you, or the Star Wars Connect with the dancing Han Solos and Stormtroopers. Yeah, we've had, or the Star Wars on the NES where Darth Vader turned into a scorpion because I guess the Japanese developers had never seen Star Wars. Yeah, it's not going to go as well, I think, for FIFA as they think it will going away from EA. EA, however, if they can remember, unlike previous FIFAs and things, to actually take the year of the stadium out of it so that people don't know that they just reused an asset, FIFA could just make or EA could just make a football or a soccer game. I know it's football to the rest of the world, but soccer. They don't need FIFA attached to it. They really don't need the characters. They've had enough trouble with that. And I can't believe I'm kind of defending EA here, but I think they're both bullshit people and companies, and they get exactly what they deserve. So, yeah, good luck with that, FIFA. EA is going to be fine. This is probably old news now. Still not enjoying New World. But 18 days ago, they had to turn off the server transfer issue because they were having character persistence issues. Later on, there was a money duping issue, transferring back and forth between servers, that they've had to slow down on. The game is it's a hot mess, to be honest with you. I know a lot of my friends and stuff are playing it, and they say they enjoy it, and more power to them. I've tried. It is just not for me at all. Crafting and all that. And the end game, I hear, is bullshit. The community sounds just awful. It's just the worst people that you would expect to be in a buy-to-play game. Like, Guild Wars and stuff is the same model, but it works very well. But it's a different game. It attracted a different community. It's not as great as Final Fantasies or maybe ESOs, but still, yeah. I think I'm just already over New World, to be honest with you. I just do not. I'm interested in it in a vague way, but I got to level 10 and I was bored out of my mind the entire time. The game needs fucking mounts or something to get around faster. It just takes I don't have this kind of time to just waste walking from one goddamn location to the other. It just gets old. In other fun news, Star Citizen's players are giving each other drug overdoses. First off, people are playing Star Citizen. It is actually a playable thing. Actually, they make a point. I'm honestly surprised that we haven't had Star Citizen NFTs yet. No, shit, right? That's the next thing for this game. So apparently what happened here, Star Citizen, it's a game I want to like and I want to play, but I'm not doing this going on 6 years of alpha bullshit that they've been doing. I'm not doing it. So apparently in update 3.15, currently live on the public test server, they added a tool, which was a med gun. It let you shoot people with, like, you could heal them from afar with a pistol gun. It was a healing weapon, which was intended to allow players to heal themselves. It's not meant to be a weapon, and it can also be used in the armistice zones, i.e. space stations, safe zones. It can be used wherever. And it works by pumping the players full of healing drugs. The problem is, in this game, if you get too much of anything, healing drugs or not, in your system, your character becomes incapacitated, swaying like they're drunk before collapsing on the floor. And thus, MMO players being who they are, when you can do that to somebody else, they were running around shooting each other with med weapons, causing characters to become incapacitated, stripping their limp bodies and leaving them with nothing but underwear. Players can also team up to incapacitate others and then carry around the station for a laugh. Carry them around the station. So people were spawning into areas, they'd get ganked by healing powers, they'd pass out, and then they'd be at the mercy of these assholes just dragging them around everywhere. So, yeah, I don't know how they didn't see that coming, to be completely honest with you. It seems like exactly the kind of thing that would happen if you put something like that into a game. I mean, seriously, I don't... Star Citizen's been made by all these old-time RPG players and MMO gamers and blah, 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 and blah, 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 whatever. You didn't see this coming? How? I don't know. I just don't know how you completely missed that. So anyway, moving on. There's an interesting article I saw on IGN on how Fallout 76 became a surprise hit with Japanese players. Fallout 76 isn't even a surprise hit among here. It's barely a hit. It's got a very... it's got its lovers, it's got its, oh my, it's lovers. Oh, feel the sultry feel of velour. But apparently it's a really big hit over in Japan. And so they were talking to people. Apparently it comes to, funny enough, role play and the building. Like customization, the buildings, like some of the buildings I watch these people build are amazing, but they're making these buildings, and like one of them was he was like a vendor or something, so when the vending machines actually came out and he could sell things, it just took off. One of the guys, let's see, Rena Balanos is a communication specialist working for ZeniMax Asia and Bethesda Soft in Japan. He said, sandbox games are extremely popular in Japan. The aspect of being able to roleplay as your ideal character and build your own world, as well as finding a playstyle that suits your interest, is what we've seen most appealing aspects of Fallout 76. So, this one guy, Shaq, he said, I was looking for an open world game and found Fallout. My favorite elements of the Fallout series have always been the world, the exploration, and the gun combat. Okay, I question you on that. The gun combat, even in the single-player games, is pretty shit. That's why they had to put the VAT system in. But I'll give it to you. It's still better. It's still not as too bad in 76, even if you can't freeze time. Though right now, my main character in Fallout 76 is a donut shop owner. I originally just made some sweet rolls and served them to friends, but I quickly switched to donuts because they don't go bad. And after the vending machines to sell items was implemented, that's when I finally decided to open the store. To be honest, I don't usually sell many donuts. However, it is always interesting that I make these sales pitches in voice chat and to see the customers who come by. Like, he legitimately, in the voice chat, they role play out. Like, we did that. Sib, Jazz, Strafe, and I, we did one episode of role playing in voice chat just to see how it went. It was extremely uncomfortable. We had a great time. It was a lot of fun. But it was really super weird, coming from us old-timers that text roleplay. But it's just, it's crazy. You never, a lot of American things have a real hard time getting a foothold in Japan, like the Xbox. The Series S is actually doing very well in Japan for the first time. I think I heard they've already sold more units there than the entire Xbox. I think it was the Xbox One. Like, if what I heard was correct, the entire country of Japan over the course of the Xbox One's life sold 150,000 units. In a country of millions, they sold 150,000. That's not a lot. I mean, the current one is sold like 15 million across the world, and that's with the supply shortages. So I think they already hit that in like less than a year now. So that's pretty amazing. So congratulations, Microsoft. Of course, a lot of that is the Game Pass, which has some amazing games coming out on it this month, by the way. Like Visage was a good one. It Takes Two is one I want to play with Sib, but it takes two people to play that game. So, it says here, more than anything, Japanese Fallout players love showing off their interest to the world and will spend hours upon hours perfecting their camp to share their love with the community. According to Baldwin, who's one of the players. Those who play the game together also often give one another advice, hands-on help in game to help improve each other's already amazing creations. It's basically what they're doing is exactly what we did in like Elder Scrolls and Final. We helped each other. Like Sib when she built stuff, I'd help her out. Like she was the idea. Don't get me wrong. When I say I help her out, she'd be like, "Hey, come look at this and make sure things are straight and not floating." Not that I was helping with the design choices because. I mean, I'm not terrible. I will give myself a pat on the back. I'm better than a lot of dudes. But she just had a mind for decorating in these games. And her actual Fallout place looked really cool. It's one of the things she really, really liked about Fallout. But, yeah, it's cool, but also kind of crazy that something like that just took off in Japan. I guess I'll do this one here before I get to the Alex Baldwin thing. Again, these are stories from, it's been 3 weeks since I've done a show, so that's why I'm just now getting to Alex Baldwin, which, people on the left and the right, you are just the fucking worst people. And I have my own side. I am very right-leaning, and I was, I'll get into it. Anyway, before I get into that, kind of a sad thing. Dragon Ball's English language Frieza actor Chris Ayres dies at age 56. It's very unfortunate. He is Frieza. I mean, he's the Frieza. Like the very first Frieza back in the late 90s, that was a chick that did Frieza, and she was great. But he's been doing Frieza forever. He's done it for Dragon Ball Z Kai, did it for Dragon Ball Super, Xenoverse. The problem was, in 2018, he had a double lung transplant and stepped down from the role, but he reprised it in Dragon Ball Super Broly. He had a double lung transplant. Those don't last forever. And he was a voice actor. You know the one thing you use to voice acting? Your lungs. That's right. That air doesn't just come out of the wind of your ass. So it was really unfortunate. Like generations, 2 or 3 generations of kids love this guy's Frieza. I mean, Frieza is just one of the best bad guys in all of Dragon Ball, and he's one of the best bad guys in all of anime, period. Like, he's in the top 5 for sure. And if you want to debate that, fuck off, because you don't know what you're talking about. Pure and simple. He doesn't have to be the best. He's top 5 at least. So it's just unfortunate. It was complications due. He lung surgery 3 years ago. His body just kind of gave out. It's just what happens when you have lung transplants. Like, you literally are taking the gas bags that power you and replacing them like a spare part. Yeah. So I don't know how. I won't go too far into this because, I mean, a lot has come out on this since then. But the accidental shooting death on the set of Rust by Alec Baldwin is very unfortunate. To those of you on the right, I'm going to talk to you for a moment. Yes, he was negligent. He should have definitely checked a gun. All the other, like Dean Cain, a lot of other people, Schwarzenegger, every time they're handed a gun, they check it, make sure it's not a round chambered, all that stuff, that they don't have a hot gun. Getting on to Baldwin for pointing the gun and being able to kill one person and then hit another through them because he was pointing it at the camera. How the fuck do you think Hollywood gets shots like The Matrix when Trinity says dodge this and the gun is pointed right at the camera? Do you think there's just nobody behind that when they're doing that? That's how these things are made. Is that proper gun safety if you have a real and loaded gun? Absolutely not. You never point at anything you don't want to kill. However, and it was supposed to be a prop gun with nothing in it, and yet somebody fucked it up. Perhaps they should, and he was just practicing. He was practicing for the next shot. That's what he was doing. He was trying to quick draw, look like a halfway competent person who's an anti-gun actor using a gun, but we'll gloss over that for the moment. But the number of posts I saw from right-leaning people that were just like, I get it. I think Alan Baldwin is a garbage human being too. I don't like him. I think the things he said to his kid, calling her a disgusting little pig and things like that on that call, and their family issues aside, I think he's a piece of shit. However, in the aspect of fairness, this is how shit's done. And it's a tragic accident, and somebody should be fined and go to jail for this. And I also understand, ultimately, he is the producer, and everything that was happening on that set is under his purview. But the person that loaded that gun with a live round, that is the person that is ultimately to blame for this. And I don't think it was him. And I've seen the conspiracy theories that that somebody wanted this to fail. It's a $6 million stupid-ass straight-to-DVD movie. This wasn't coming out in movie theaters. It wasn't going to win any awards. It was just some side project for $6 million somebody had going. I think they call it like a tier 1 movie, which that's not that starts at the tier 1 is the bottom. That's where they start at. So, excuse me. It's unfortunate, and I actually feel bad for the man. I can't imagine having you're doing your quick draw practice and you accidentally shoot and fatally kill your cinematographer and your director, both of who you're working with constantly on the set and have been for days. And there's a lot of other issues. I know the things with the union Teamster people walking out on set because of safety conditions. This whole thing seems like it came about because people got complacent and they got lazy. And should somebody be held accountable for that? Yes. Who? I don't know. The police are going to figure it out, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it. It's already been like since December 21st. Yeah. Or 20th, 21st. It's been almost 3 weeks since this happened. He's come out, and he's obviously shaken out. I've seen the pictures after the fact. He's clearly like just shaken. And I feel bad for her family. I feel bad for his family. I feel bad for the director. I feel bad for the Brandon Lee's family who reached out to them because it's been since 1990, was it 3? Something like that, when Brandon Lee was accidentally shot. That's the last time somebody died on set due to an accidental misfire. Not the last time someone's died on set. Let's not forget Triple X, where the guy doing the parachute trick actually smashed face first into the bridge and died on impact because he didn't go down fast enough. Shit happens when it comes to stuntman and things like that. That's why there's insurance. It's unfortunate, but they also choose that job. This was just a fatal accident, and it's very unfortunate. And this is why gun safety has to be practiced at all times, even on a set. I saw, who was it? The Rock says that from now on they're going to only use prop guns. And a lot of times when people they said this was a prop gun. On a movie set, a prop gun, typically, unless it's like, I've got one over here. It's a Scout. I got a Scout blaster that's fully resin. There's no moving parts. It's just one giant. It's just a giant block of resin. It's shaped like a biker scout pistol. Unless they do that and they add the pops in CG after the fact, usually a prop gun is an actual gun. They just I don't know why they call it a prop gun. It's just a gun. Like if it can fit a blank, it can fit a bullet. Pure and simple. And that's what this was supposed to have been done by. Overall, I was going to go a lot more into this back when this broke, but it's been 3 weeks, so I'm not going to really go more into it than that. I'll just wait. I'll update things as I find out about them and things are done. But, yeah, I think I know I'm supposed to do the top 10 or top video games. I should probably do like top 10, but I just pick a number at random. The video games that came out in the month of November, because this is the first episode of the month that I've done. However, given that it's been so long, I didn't know how long this episode would take, and I'm already over the hour. I usually try to allot for it. At least I didn't go 2 hours like last time. And there was a lot of stuff I cut out, and I'll probably hit that up next week if this is a slow week. But I'll hit that. I will definitely do that next week. So if you came in looking for what's coming out in November this year, just gives you a reason to turn into episode 52. Tune in to turn.
This can only end in tears.
Turn into episode 52. So, all right. Well, with that, I am gonna bail the fuck out of here. I'm gonna go shoot me some Nazis in Call of Duty and call it a good day. Remember, twitch.tv/crashedwhileloading if you want to listen to the episode. Also on YouTube, if you just YouTube search Crashed While Loading. That's the best way to do it. I don't have like a YouTube/Crashed While Loading because I don't have that many followers. So you can help. Be a follower. Also, you want to give me a review on iTunes, I can read it like I read Scribbles, which was a good review, I think. Depending on how you look at it. I would appreciate it. And with that, I am Ashen Phoenix, and good night, everybody. And I'll see you hopefully next week, as long as life doesn't kick me in the balls again. Yeah, it's probably not looking too good. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear all his latest in video game rock covers and original music.
That's the joke.